ஓம் நமோ நாராயணாய.
ஸ்ரீராம ஜெயம். எல்லாருக்கும் நமஸ்காரம். கதவிருக்ஷா வழங்கும் திருவோணம் திருநாள் நிகழ்ச்சிக்கு உங்கள் எல்லாரையும் வெல்கம் பண்ணுறதுலையும், இந்த நிகழ்ச்சியில் உங்கள் எல்லாரையும் மறுபடியும் சந்திக்கிறதுக்கான அனுகிரகத்தை பெருமாள் எனக்கு கொடுத்துருக்கார் அப்படின்னு நினைக்கும் போது ரொம்பவே சந்தோஷமாக இருக்குது. நம்ம இந்த திருவோணம் திருநாள் நிகழ்ச்சியில் கடந்த சில மாதங்களாக பகவத்கீதையிலேருந்து ஒரு ஸ்லோகம், அதோடைய விளக்கம், அது சம்மந்தப்பட்டு நம்ம என்னென்னலாம் தெரிஞ்சுக்கணும் அதெல்லாம் தான் தெரிஞ்சுட்டு வரோம். நம்மளுக்கு அந்த ஸ்லோகத்தோடு அதோடைய விளக்கத்தையும் தாத்பரியம் எல்லாத்தையுமே ரொம்ப பியூட்டிஃபுல்லாக எக்ஸ்பிளைன் பண்ணிட்டு வரா நம்ம எல்லாருக்குமே பரிச்சயமான டாக்டர் ஸ்ரீமதி ஸ்ரீவித்யா சத்யமூர்த்தி அவர்கள் இன்னைக்கு பகவத்கீதாவோட 17வது சாப்டர்லேருந்து ஒரு ஸ்லோகம் சொல்லி அதுக்கான விளக்கமும் கொடுக்க போறா. எல்லாரும் இப்போ அதை கேட்கலாம்.
Namaste, Hari Om, Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Welcome back everyone. We sincerely hope that you have been enjoying our sessions and have had an opportunity to ponder over the chosen verses. Once again, I would like to thank you for this opportunity to share our interpretation on a Gita verse. Being just an aspiring student of this text, we are grateful for the knowledge gained through this effort. This is just an endeavor from us with the hope that it will pique your interest and you can delve deeper into it. Today we have chosen a verse from chapter 17th. Here it is. Om Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Om Shri Krishna Paramatmane Namaha. Srimad Bhagavad Gita Atha Saptadashodhyayaha. Shraddhatraya Vibhagayogaha. Anudvegakaram vakyam satyam priyahitam chayat swadhyayabhyasanam chaiva vamayam tapa uchyate. Om tatsat iti Srimad Bhagavad Gitasu Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Shraddha Traya Vibhaga Yogo Nama Saptadashodhyayaha. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. The literal translation of this verse goes like this. Practice of speech which causes no excitement and is truthful, pleasant and beneficial, and the practice of swadhyaya, these constitute austerity of speech. So let us go to see the context of this verse. In the 13th to 15th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna talked about the complete philosophy or science or knowledge of life, ending with the integral or Purushottama Yoga in 15th chapter. Now, how does the glow of this Purushottama Yoga rise? In the 16th chapter, in order to help Arjuna, the Lord gave more information about life. He talked about the Daivic or divine and the Asuric or demoniacal tendencies of human mind, and he helped to understand the virtues that should be cultivated and personality traits that should be avoided to nurture the divine nature. He ended the chapter by saying that one who disregards the teachings of the scriptures and in an unwise manner listens to and follows the wishes and whims of the body and mind will not attain happiness or freedom from the cycle of life and death. Now, in the 17th chapter, Arjuna wants to know, can a person perform sacrifice or yajna with faith but without the shastras or scriptures? And if they do, is it sattva, rajas or tamas? Meaning, is faith or shraddha alone enough without the knowledge or practice? In answer, as in annexure to the 16th chapter, Lord Krishna delves deeply into faith or shraddha as an integral part of humanity. Whether it's the kind of faith that says, I can't see God, so I don't believe in God, or the kind of faith displayed by the people who have been continuing for centuries to give prayers in temples that have been long destroyed, or the faith that the majority of people today have in scientific processes, since it's believed that science is the ultimate truth. All of us have faith in something or the other. The Lord goes on to describe the three types of faith. And He says that the type of faith depends on the nature of the mind. And we all know that the mind and body are interrelated. What happens to the body impacts the mind and vice versa. In this chapter that has been labeled as the Karyakrama Yoga, or the yoga of the daily program, in the words of Acharya Vinoba Bhave, the Lord has suggested certain practices to be done regularly in order to live a joyful and free life. This will make us automatically attuned towards good habits. This includes instructions on how to discharge our duties towards our body, our creation, and society. In this process, He has given descriptions of 3 types of foods, 3 types of yajnas or sacrifice, 3 types of tapa, and 3 types of charity. He has further elaborated on the 3 types of tapaha, which are shariram, vangmayam, and manasa tapaha. Tapaha means austerity, and so He has taught us how to maintain the austerity of the body, of the speech, and of the mind. This verse or shloka is the one that elaborates on the tapaha of vangmayam, or the austerity of speech. We will begin this discussion with this ancient verse, for which I am not able to find the origin or source. However, this song used to be played in the early morning hours before the start of the programming in All India Radio. Some of us are young enough not to remember this music. This also happens to be a favorite slokam of Swami Thiranandaji, who is our resident Swamiji at Chinmaya Mission of Washington region. It goes like this. Keyurani na bhushayanti purusham harana chandrojvala na snanam na vilepanam na kusumam nalankrita murtaja vanyeka samalankaroti purusham ya samskrita dharyate kshiyante khalu bhushana Bhushanani Satatam Vagbhushanam Bhushanam. The meaning of the verse is that bracelets do not decorate a person, nor do necklaces glittering like the moon, nor bathing, nor smearing the body with fragrance, nor flowers, and nor decorated hair. Only speech embellishes a person, that kind of speech which has been upheld with cultural refinement. Indeed, all ornaments or bhushanani decay. The ornament of speech is always the real ornament. The importance of speech and its relationship to cultural refinement is stressed here. Now, going back to our Gita Slokam, today we chose the topic of speech or communication. The reason is that communication or lack of proper communication leads to several issues on both personal and professional levels. Speech is an important mode of expression for all of us. We use speech to say what we think and what we feel, especially in today's lifestyles where people in a family live in parallel lives that rarely meet. Rampant use of cool speak or vocabulary of social media like BRB or LOL, lack of time for proper discussions. There are a lot of misunderstandings about so many things. Also, people are opinionated and make instant decisions based on little or no information. In his commentary on the Gita verse, Gurudev Chinmayananda has said that speech is a powerful vehicle in man, and it reflects the intellectual caliber, the mental discipline, and the physical self-control of the speaker. Does it then mean that one should stay silent or mauna? The power of speech must be made use of for integrating the personality of the seeker. Speech can be such a powerful instrument that even a pregnant silence or words that are not said can convey strong messages across. Speech can be used artfully so that it can benefit both the speaker and the listener. Speech spoken must be so that it does not cause any hurtful feelings in the listener and should certainly not be vulgar. A way to gauge the effects of our speech would be to observe the facial expressions or body language of the person on whom we are affecting our speech. But most of the time, we are so intent in our speech that we miss the delicate nuances of sensitivity to the other. The mistakes we commit during our daily activities come mainly out of our conversations because of what we should have not said or the way we have said certain words. Many an unfortunate person has failed in their efforts in life and lost all of their friends and relatives merely because of the bitterness of the tongue. Lord Krishna also says that words should be true, satyam. Now, if it is true, can we say the words regardless of the consequences? Meaning, should we say truthful words even if they are harsh or hurtful? Here I am reminded of reading about how sage Valmiki has described Lord Rama on the aspects of his speech. He has described Rama as Shruta Bhashi or Madhura Bhashi, which means he always spoke sweetly. Purva Bhashi, he initiated conversations, not waiting for the other to start. Mita Bhashi, he did not speak unnecessarily, and hitabhashi, meaning he spoke only when beneficial. He also described him, Rama, as Satyavak or truthful, and also as an eloquent speaker like Vachaspati. So, even if it is true, speech should not be used if it is hurtful or not beneficial. So, speech needs to be priyam, that is agreeable, and hitam, beneficial. So, if the words in the speech are to be honest and agreeable but not beneficial, it is better not to say them. Now, an important and very unappreciated and underrated aspect of speech and communication that is usually not practiced by most of us is listening. Listening to the other person is so important in a conversation. We are so loath these days to even allow the other person to finish their sentence, before which we want to add our own thought or opinion. We would like to constantly display our extent of intelligence or knowledge to anyone who is willing. But it is important to remember in our conversations and interactions, it is differences that strengthen us. Differences of opinions, viewpoints, ideas, or experiences. Different people we interact with may have various different viewpoints on things. Through these various perspectives, we can understand things better. The trick is not to consider them as opposing opinions or the people as your competitors just because they have different ideas. Different ideas broaden and expand our outlook, our consciousness, so it is much more productive to embrace them. With emotional maturity and an open mind, we embrace diversity and learn to integrate all points of view. In this context, it is important to discuss one of the best communicators that have been described in our Itihasas, who is Lord Hanuman or Anjaneya. In Kishkinda Kandam, Lord Rama, having first met Hanuman in disguise, describes his skills in communication. He described him as well versed in all the 4 Vedas. What he said is, only somebody who is well read can communicate so beautifully as Hanuman. He displayed a command over the language and pleasant facial expressions and body language that was appropriate, with a precise speech and voice that was well modulated, with a tone arising from his throat. His speech was described by Rama as auspicious and one with a captivating speech that connected 2 hearts and related 2 minds. He also appreciated his keen listening skills, saying that his expressions were so appropriate, and any king would be lucky to have such a wonderful ambassador. So, coming back to our Gita verse, Krishna finally concludes the shloka by advising on Swadhyaya. Swadhyaya can be translated as a regular study of scriptures, and this Swadhyaya really helps in controlling our speech because it helps us to introspect and look within. Now, Swadhyaya can also mean a study of the self. Now, studying oneself leads to deep introspection, especially if coupled with regular meditation. It leads to constant self-improvement, which leads to better and better communication. During our wakeful hours, most of our time is spent in communicating. And if we pay a little attention to how we speak, we can greatly reduce the formation of samskaras or impressions. Even the way we don't speak at times conveys a lot. We can transcend our shortcomings by keeping a continuous watch on ourselves and by connecting ourselves with our heart. There is a summary from a beautiful chapter that Ramachandra Fatehgar has written about speech and conversation in his book called Truth Eternal. In my opinion, it is the most important chapter of all times. Here's an excerpt. He says, "The style of speech should be devoid of rise and fall in pitch. On the contrary, it should be like the divine current which has been flowing evenly since the beginning of creation. This results in effectiveness as whatever is spoken goes on touching the hearts of others. To achieve this, we first of all try to remove the rise and fall in the voice while speaking, which is called sharpness. By sharpness, I do not only imply anger, which is very heavy and should not be allowed at all in this context. What I mean is that the flow of speech should not carry any kind of weight in it. An illustration of this is a current of still air. The balanced condition of mind is an expression of the right attitude in all our activities under varied circumstances. In a broad sense, it is the reflection of our character. It reveals itself in conversation, which can be either serious and long or light and short. Such conversation is devoid of excitement or any high-pitched emotional outburst and devoid of any rapid, short-tempered and moody reaction. It is a prompt, methodical and civil expression of the self, and it is soft, cultured and smooth like the harmonious descent of divine grace. A person whose tongue is polite, civilized and cultured has a large, pure and noble heart, and thus has a wide sway over the mind of others. Pours itself forth naturally with nobility, magnanimity, and progressively makes deep inroads and establishes itself in the minds of all. He further goes on to say, a civil tongue is a prerequisite to achieve the goal of human life. A cultured tongue rules the kingdom of the heart. A polished tongue in discourse or conversation influences humanity and reigns supreme. Anger is a poison to spirituality. Unless we are free from this plague, moderation can never be attained. If anger is overcome and a nasty and short temper is avoided, there is scope for attainment of a balanced condition of the mind. The greater the control over it, the freer and more bounteous is the celestial gift. To free ourselves from anger, we should think ourselves to be polite and humble. The heart is so tender that it begins to droop even by the slightest circulation of wind. In conclusion, all I can say from personal experience is that arriving at this austere state of speech is very difficult to achieve. Our speech patterns have been built over years and years of incorrect thought patterns that have developed into habits. Although these deeply ingrained habits are based on our samskaras or cognate patterns, an inner yearning for change, a determined approach helped along by some meditation practices can lead to such a transformation. And even then, as my Guru Kamlesh Patel says, it takes at least an entire lifetime to master. We are grateful for your attention and look forward to meeting you next time. Please share your thoughts and feedback in the comments section. Please also forgive us for any mistakes that we may have committed. Shri Krishna Arpanamastu.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Srividya Sathiyamoorthy. It was again a beautiful episode. Speech எவ்வளோ இம்பார்ட்டண்ட், நம்ம வாயிலேருந்து வர ஒவ்வொரு வார்த்தையும் எவ்வளவு முக்கியம் அப்படின்றத ரொம்ப பியூட்டிஃபுல்லாக எக்ஸ்பிளைன் பண்ணிட்டேன். நீங்கள் கொடுத்த மேற்கோள்கள், வால்மீகி ராமாயணமில் வால்மீகி முனிவர் ராமரை பற்றி எப்படியெல்லாம் டிஸ்கிரைப் பண்ணியிருக்கார், சொல்லின் செல்வன் ஆஞ்சநேயரை பற்றி ராமர் என்ன சொல்கிறார், பிட்டர்னஸ் ஆஃப் அ ஸ்பீச் எவ்வளோ இம்பார்ட்டண்ட், அது வள்ளுவர் சொல்லியிருக்கார். தீயினால் சுட்ட புண் உள்ளாரும் ஆறாது, நாவினால் சுட்ட வடு, அந்த நாக்குலேருந்து வர ஒவ்வொரு வார்த்தைக்கும் எவ்வளவு இம்பார்ட்டன்ஸ் இருக்குது அப்படின்றதையும், ஹவு இம்பார்ட்டன்ட் இட் இஸ் டு ஓவர் கம் அவர் ஆங்கர் அப்படின்றதையும், பகவான் ஸ்ரீ கிருஷ்ணன் நம்மளுக்கு அதை எவ்வளவு அழகாக உணர்த்திருக்கார் அப்படின்றதையும் ரொம்ப பியூட்டிஃபுல்லாக எக்ஸ்பிளைன் பண்ணிட்டு, இந்த திருவோணம் நன்னாளில் இது மாதிரி ஒரு அற்புதமான ஸ்பீச் கேட்கறதுக்கான கொடுப்பனையாக பெருமாள் உங்கள் மூலியமாக கொடுத்துட்டுருக்கார். ஐ எம் ஷியோர் வியூவர்ஸ் அண்ட் ஆடியன்ஸ் நீங்கள் எல்லாரும் இதை கண்டிப்பாக நன்னா எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ் பண்ணியிருப்பேன். இதே மாதிரி அடுத்த திருவோணம்க்கு என்ன பகவத்கீதா ஸ்லோகம் கேட்க போகிறோம், அதுக்கான விளக்கங்கள், நம்ம என்ன தெரிஞ்சுக்க போகிறோம், நம்ம என்ன ஃபாலோ பண்ண போகிறோம், இதெல்லாம் நீங்கள் தெரிஞ்சுக்கணும்னா எல்லாருமே மறக்காமல் கதாவிருக்ஷாவுக்கு சப்ஸ்கிரைப் பண்ணுங்க. மீண்டும் கதாவிருக்ஷாவின் திருவோணம் திருநாள் நிகழ்ச்சியில் உங்கள் எல்லாரையும் நான் மறுபடியும் சந்திக்கிறேன். அது வரைக்கும் நமஸ்காரம்.